If you're like me, you bought your diesel heater and didn't realize it wouldn't plug straight into the wall. It needs a 12-volt source. And trust me, I tried to plug it in the wall. Let's go ahead and ditch this setup and go to something that we can plug straight into the wall. Welcome back to the channel. Let's take a look at what we got. This is the power supply. Then I got this power cord. They didn't have a switched one that would show up on time, so I ended up getting this little switched extension. This power unit was only $24, and to me it is just amazing what you can buy for so cheap. It looks to be like very decent quality. Definitely worth $24. Has a switch in the back for switching 110 or 220, whatever region you live in. Here's the portion of the unit that has the outputs and the inputs. To the very left, we have our voltage adjustment. Then we have positive 12 volt, negative 12 volt, and 110 input. I'm gonna leave links for everything I use down below. However, you don't have to use exactly what I used. There was actually some better options as far as power cords, but they wouldn't show up for like 2 weeks and I wasn't waiting. You really should have a battery backup in case of a power outage. The diesel heater requires a cool down. When you turn it off, it doesn't just boot down. It requires running the fan so it doesn't overheat the combustion chamber. So if you do this and you have a power outage, I don't know what might happen. So do this at your own risk. I'm doing it because I don't care. What's it gonna do? Melt the heater? I mean, I guess it could. I'm gonna go ahead and hop on the laptop to show you guys search parameters and stuff in case any of these links go and I don't update them. You can do it yourself. Let me show you. The first thing you want to do is buy a Mac. You could also do this from your cell phone if you want, but just go to Amazon and go to the search bar. Type in power supply 300 watt. And there we go. The first one that appears, that one will work fine. This is a 360 watt, 30 amp unit. Exactly what we need. And this is the exact unit I purchased. It is the Olitove 360 watt, and it is $24. So this was the cheapest one I found. Here's all the specs. In the related bar, there's just so many options that will work. Now let's go ahead and look for a switched power cord. Here's one that will work fine. Here on the left is the little extender that I purchased. Here's another. Take your pick. Whatever you want will work. I was gonna cut this end off and then make this end go straight into the power supply like so. I don't feel like doing that, so I'm just gonna plug this into here. Done. Switched power cord. And if you don't need it switched, just use this. Then it will just turn on and off when you plug it in. We're gonna be using these 3 leads on the right, so let's go ahead and loosen them with a screwdriver. I have a Phillips 1 on the left and a Phillips 2 on the right. The Phillips 2 fits way better than the 1, so I'll be using that. Next, we're going to start messing with the power cord. You can just twist them and call that good. I am not a huge fan of the longevity of that based on them bending and stuff, so I'm going to go ahead and pull out the soldering iron and tin all the tips. If you're not worried about that, you're good to plug these in like so. I've been through at least 10 soldering irons, and this Harbor Freight Chicago Electric one is awesome. It heats up extremely fast and has a lot of power. Make sure to always use flux. Flux draws in the solder. Without flux, the solder will often just sit on top of the wire and not sink in. I always dip my tip. It helps the soldering iron hold the solder as well. I always forget how powerful this thing is and end up dripping solder everywhere. It gets hot. If you're used to your soldering iron taking 10 minutes to heat up, you gotta go to your Harbor Freight and grab one of these. It actually has so much power, it just keeps obliterating tips. And I went to Harbor Freight and you cannot buy tips. So in the case, I have spare Weller tips. They are not round like the Harbor Freight one, but they do fit in. And just like that, we have beautifully tinned tips. They're not going to loosen up over time because they have like a structure to them. So heat cycles do not affect the tension on them. It does make them a lot thicker though, so I really had to loosen up all these leads. I work with a lot of 12 volt, not a lot of 110. So I don't actually know which one is the hot wire. We live in a day and age with Google, so Google whatever you don't know. And here we have 2 sources that say black wire is hot. So that's what we're running with. Black is hot. This part can be a little tricky, but just shove them in there however you can. Black on the right, neutral in the center, ground on the left. Make sure the power supply you purchased has that same layout. If not, match whatever it requires. Don't blindly follow this, please. Make sure, or else you will have sparky stuff. I always go ahead and do a pull test to make sure everything's tight. If it moves, tighten it a little more. I went ahead and tinned the tips of the input for the diesel heater. Before hooking it up, I want to verify that the power unit is putting out the correct voltage. Here I have the leads backward, but it will just read negative. Looks like we are at 12.4 and we need to be 11.5 to 12.8. I like being at the upper end, so I'm going to go ahead and adjust up a little bit. Next up, I'm going to make sure the switch works. Might as well just test everything to make sure we got full functionality. Looks good. This unit has 3 channels, and part of me wishes it was positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, but I could see how that's confusing. So they did 3 positives on the left, 3 negatives on the right. So I'm just going to use the 2 ones right next to each other, as I don't plan on hooking anything else up to this power supply. Here we can see the importance of the pull test. The red one didn't get tight, so I went ahead and snugged it down a little more. Make sure to snap this cover closed before you plug it in, because you do not want to touch spicy wires. 110 is no joke. Unless you're from somewhere where there's 220, then 110's an absolute joke. Because we need twice the amps, and amps are what kill you, so it's kind of not smart. This thing works great. I was expecting to see some voltage drop when the glow plug was heating or when the fuel pump was pumping, but there was like 0.1 deviance. It could just be where I set it, so it's holding very steady. I'm very happy with that. There you have it, guys. It is that easy to make a power supply for your diesel heater. I don't like how long all this is, so I am going to go ahead and snip this here and put this directly to the power supply. I can plug that in right here, mount the power supply somewhere on the wall, and clean up all this cord. I wanted to show it this way because if you don't have an outlet right next to it, this would be great. This is a 9-foot lead. So if you got some distance to cover, this is the answer. When I wired this room up, I put outlets absolutely everywhere so that this would never be an issue for me. I don't know where it is, but there's one back there somewhere and one over there. If you like this short little setup I'm making, it's super simple. Just give it a chop and then strip it back. After doing this for a little bit, I remembered that that is a terrible way to strip it. What you want to do is put the razor blade on it and push a tiny bit in and roll the cord. Once you have it scored, you can bend it and it will break through the rest of the way. Now a quick little tin of the tips and it is ready to be swapped out. On the power supply, there's threaded holes that are for machine screws, probably like 4 millimeters, something smaller than I had. So I had to figure out a way to secure this to the wall. I decided to just slip some zip ties through the case and loop them, and it will just be able to hang from that. The whole assembly is so light that I didn't bother looking for studs. These screws only hit drywall, and I'm not concerned about it because it is super light. Out with the old, in with the new. This is so much better. I'm very happy I did this. So it's off right now. Flip a switch. Power. I could have routed some of this stuff better, but I'm going to be removing this and servicing it. It currently does not work. I got another one on the way, but I need to take this one apart and see what's wrong with it. If you're curious as to why it broke, check out this video right here. I do not know if this one power supply, a 300 watt, will support more than one diesel heater. So I don't have the answer for that yet, but you can get 600 watt power supplies or 1000 watt. So if you want to run more than one, just up your wattage. I would do at least 300 just because I know it works. Future Colin here, quick update. My new heater's in, and on the inputs for it, it says 12 volt, 15 amp. So use that at your own discretion. This gets warm. I've never had this fan even kick on though. So based on that, I think it can support the second heater, but it's definitely gonna be running that fan. That's all speculation. Take everything I just said with a grain of salt. If you just need it for one though, you're good. Anyway, I appreciate you guys staying to the end. I know there's people that are doubting that I'm gonna make this thing run on waste oil, and you might be right, but you might be wrong. If you wanna see the results, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.